Hi, good evening, everyone. Pao here, and today's my third book of my 52 book challenge. So I'm gonna read 52 books in a span of a year, or 52 weeks, which is one book a week. So today, the book of choice is 48 Laws of Power, written by Robert Greene. So I'll share my screen. So the book was quite interesting. Actually, I've been having this book for quite some time now, and it's only since I downloaded the audiobook I was able to actually finish the book. So it took me a week to finish this, quite long, but it's very insightful. And before I start to give my key takeaways from the book, out of the 48 laws, I selected 12, which I think are immediately actionable and I think can help in your day to day, not just in your career, your business, but even growing your influence or power amongst the network of connections that you have. But again, disclaimer, this book contains information that can be manipulative. So make sure that anything that you learn here is with of good intentions and you use it in a nice way, right? Or in a good intention way. So again, the book is written by Robert Greene. He's also the author of the 33 Strategies of War, and he has other books like Mastery, Seduction. But today we'll talk about the 48 Laws of Power. I really like the book because I think there are a lot of nuggets of wisdom that you can actually apply in your day to day. But again, out of the 48 laws, I selected 12, and the research was based on the success of a lot of people, famous figures who were able to amass wealth, power by using these 48 strategies. But if I were to distill the entire book into 12 of my favorite, it's never outshine the master, conceal your intentions, and so on and so forth. So like I usually do in my book summary, I give you an overview first. I walk you through each and every one, citing examples, and we go back to a key summary of everything that we discuss at the end. So with that, we'll start with the first law which I wanted to highlight, which is the never outshine the master. So I think this is very applicable in our day to day. May you be in corporate, may you be in entrepreneur, when may you be an entrepreneur, and so on and so forth, right? So why is it important to never outshine the masters? Mainly because all masters want to appear more brilliant than other people. They care about their name and their glory, and it's very important to not make them feel insecure. So what is an example of this? So for example, if you're in a corporate setting, right? Although you do majority of the work, if there's a big project, for example, although you do majority of the work, it's also very important to make sure that you also keep on highlighting the contributions that your boss um, may have contributed to the project, right? The main reason is because if you do outshine the master, a lot of people, the tendency is people in power tend to get intimidated by your rise to fame. And in olden times, especially during the kings and queens era, right, or the medieval times, whenever there was this person who was rising to fame, gaining glory, and so on and so forth amongst the critical mass, these kings got intimidated and actually uh, to contribute to the downfall of that person. So it's very important to keep in mind that um, our masters are there for a reason, and it's natural. It's human instincts for people in power to actually want glory, want to appear more brilliant than others. So if you're a subordinate, it's very important to keep this in mind, to never outshine your master. Make sure you always recognize his or her contribution to the work you've done, and yeah, put him or her into a good light. And this would take you far in your career, in your business, in your success, basically. So never outshine the master. So that's the first nugget of wisdom. The second loss of power is conceal your intentions. So a lot of people fall into this trap wherein if they're so excited with something, they accidentally share too much of the plan, share too much of their intentions. Because of this, it may work against you in a sense that people who may be jealous of you, people who may have ill intentions, would use this information that you disclose to your disadvantage. So it's very important to never reveal your true intentions. One of the strategies highlighted in the book is sometimes you need to send misleading signals so they can't pick up on your real goal. So again, it's very important to keep um, your intentions to yourself. Don't overly share information that can be used against you to your disadvantage of those people who may be envious of you, jealous of you. So it's important to consider emotions and even, you know, do a strategy of send misleading signals so that your detractors would get confused on what your real intentions are, right? So the third one is so much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. I think this goes without saying. Your reputation is of utmost importance, right? You live and die with your reputation. Even if you go bankrupt the next day, as long as you have a good reputation, you have clean reputation, you know, you didn't scam anybody and so on and so forth, it would be you should still be able to bounce back and recover. It would be harder to do so if you have a bad reputation, if you had past transactions that you know, of scamming people and so on and so forth. So I think although it wasn't written in the book, I wanted to highlight a quote by one of the most wealthiest people in the world, Warren Buffett, right? So the one of his famous quotes was, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation and only 5 minutes to ruin it." If you think about that, you'll do things differently. So for me, I think it's a very powerful quote, mainly because whenever we make decisions, it's always to our advantage if we bear in mind that our reputation is on the line. Will this major decision hurt, or will it be advantageous to my reputation? So whenever you keep this in mind, this quote in mind, it helps you decide on what would be the best path forward, right? So again, you may take years and years to build a good reputation, clean credit record, a good business partner, a good employee, and so on and so forth. But one stain with that reputation, in a matter of an instant, right, you can drastically fall from your current position. So again, so much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. The fourth one is get other people to do the work for you, but always get the credit. Okay, I know what you're thinking, right? Even when I was reading this, it may be very manipulative, right? But again, this is um, this is one of one of the research that Robert did of those people who were able to amass such wealth and power over the years of their life. So one of the key nuggets of wisdom here is how can you put this to your advantage, this law to your advantage, right? So his thinking is you need to find the best talent and hire or buy them, right? So he has a saying that fools say they learn from experience, but he believes rather than, you know, learn from your experience, get hurt, invest and lose capital and resources, he'd rather or prefer to profit from other people's experience. So, you know, look for the people who are the best in your industry that you want to enter, who are the best of the best. Look whether or not you can learn from them, hire them, or even buy them, and uh, use the knowledge of the past to actually propel you to greater heights, right? So rather than spend so much resources to learn it on your own, might as well learn from the people who have already done it, who have succeeded, and you know, work on their past experience to your advantage. And again, going back to this law, which is take credit from those below you and give credit to those above. So I think it links to the first law, wherein never outshine the master, right? So if you have people under you, subordinates, make sure that you're also part of that success, right? That you always position yourself in a good light, wherein you contributed to that. Um, but sad to say, but how can you take credit for that success? And if ever you're reporting to someone, or you have a boss, for example, how can you also share that credit to them? So I'm not much a fan of this, because I'm a believer of empowering people and give credit where credit is due. But again, I'm sharing with you the learnings that Robert has researched on the success of people amassing power. So yeah, take credit from others below you and give credit to the ones above, right? And you would reach far from your current position. Yeah. The fifth or sixth one is infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. So if you look at this infographic, they call these guys the PayPal mafia. So a lot of the people here in this group are people perhaps, or heard of their companies, right? Like the founders of YouTube. Of course, if you follow the news, the richest man in the world today, Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX, Tesla, and so many other companies, Neuralink, and so many other companies. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, uh, the founder of Square, Peter Thiel, of course, the founder of Palantir, and also the business partner of um, Elon in founding Tesla. So basically, these are what they call the PayPal mafia. The reason why I highlighted this is one of the nuggets of wisdom taught in the book is um, being around people can greatly affect your outcome in life, right? So there's a famous saying that goes by Jim Rohn, which you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Because of that, it's very important for you to associate yourself with the happy and fortunate instead, right? So haven't we always had that friend who is very negative, was very pessimistic, and his life actually best highlights that, because of this pessimism, his mindset, it really, you can see it in his life, in his day to day. So rather than associate yourself with unsuccessful people, unhappy people, unlucky people, it's better to associate yourself with people who are the opposite, who have achieved so much success, who have achieved the life you want to have, and who have created their own luck and really, built a life that's something to be proud of, right? I mean, I think that this is very applicable because, if you associate with people who are successful and have the life you want to have, you subconsciously learn their behavior. You're also exposed to their success behavior, you're also exposed to their network. And because of this repeated exposure to them, you also absorb their mindset. And subconsciously, you're able to also break that thought pattern of you can't do it, you're not smart enough, and so on and so forth, right? And by simply positioning yourself, by simply hanging out with like-minded individuals who are successful, who have the life that you want to have, you increase your chances of actually succeeding, right? Or achieving the goals you want to achieve. I think, it's very true. Mainly because if you surround yourself with people who are unachievers, who are very unhappy with your life, tendency is your mood when you're with them, you also get dragged into their mindset, their mood. So might as well, identify who are your friends who are like this, very unhappy, pessimists, and sad to say, you need to cut ties with them and associate yourselves with people who are happy, who are successful, who built a life basically that you want to have. And over time, um, you absorb these kinds of attitude, mentality, and you're exposed to their network as well. So Next learning is learn to keep people dependent on you. Again, this is very, it's a powerful statement, right? But it was very highlighted in the book that it's important for you to always be an integral part or a vital part in whatever organization you may be a part of. So never teach uh, your peers or the people in your organization too much that they can do without you. Teach them just enough so they get the job done, everything's functioning well, but never disclose the secrets that to the point that you can be replaced. So the main reason, he highlighted this is I think during the olden times, we're in a lot of the key figures, kings, for example, if they found no use of you anymore, you could easily be replaced or thrown from your position. So one of the nuggets of wisdom there is, you know, always have, always play an integral part, always play a vital part, in any organization you may be in, and you would reach greater heights, right? So although I'm not saying don't share the information to everyone, but save uh, save some one of the top secret information that only you know, so that people would still need you and you'll not be replaceable, quote unquote, right? So again, it's very um, this is a very manipulative strategy, but if you use it in a good way, I think this will bring you places. Next, know who you are dealing with and do not offend the wrong person. So I think this is very important because we never know, the people we interact to day, the people that we maybe uh, come across through in the hallway, in the lobby, we never know. Maybe they might achieve success in the future, or we may not know who we're dealing with, where he may be a very prominent figure, a powerful public figure, right? So one of the things highlighted in this book is do not offend the wrong person. Making the mistake here can put your life into serious trouble, right? So never assume that the person you are talking to is weaker, or if ever, you're talking to someone and then you automatically judge him or her based on his or her physical appearance, you treat them badly, and so on and so forth, right? So again, whenever you're dealing with people, treat them as if they're very important, regardless of what status that they may be, because you never know. They may be um, down now, or they may be not yet an influential person, but years down the line, you may come across them again, and they might actually help you, right? And one of the things highlighted there is also in case they approach you for help, if they case they approach you for um, anything for that matter, is it's always important for you to politely decline, right? I'm not saying that you always say yes to any ask or any help that person asking from you, but there's also a way to politely decline, right? Because again, you never know when your paths may cross again, and in case that happens, at least you're still on his or her good side, right? The last few is make your accomplishments seem effortless. So in any task given to you, right? People aren't amazed by people who share all of the hardships, all of their strategies, how they did it, right? Um, they're amazed by people who are able to deliver results in high fashion, meaning is they made it seem so effortless, right? So you need to, although we know that maybe whatever you achieved was really a daunting task, it's also very a powerful gesture to show or portray to other people that you were able to remain calm. Calm, graceful performance puts people in awe. Kumbaga, if you're able to portray that image that you're able to achieve a huge milestone, effortless, people would be amazed by your achievements, and look greater to your achievements, basically. Again, a link to what I said earlier, conceal your cleverness, meaning teach no one your tricks. Just like the picture here, a great magician never reveals his or her secret. So make it seem effortless, and never share your secrets or tricks to no one. Last few is despise free lunch. So there's a famous saying goes, right? Free lunch, so on and so forth. So in reality, everything has a price. Usually, there's ties that are attached, right? So one of the key concepts here is psychological obligation. There's a sense of indebtedness. So for example, if you have a friend who treats you somewhere, who loans you something, who helps you, there's no such thing as free lunch, in a sense that uh, it's natural for us human beings to feel that sense of indebtedness. So whenever he asks a favor from you because you received a favor in the past, perhaps you have that psychological obligation to pay him back, even if it is to your disadvantage, right? So as much as possible, do not accept any free gestures, any act of kindness, if you can do it on your own, right? Because avoid putting yourself in a position that you owe that person something. Uh, on the flip side, if ever you were to use it to your advantage, there's what you call the strategic generosity. One of the things highlighted in the book is whenever you give something, you do a gesture, you service other people, you're not buying the object, right? For example, it may look as if you buy something, it may look expensive, but when you think about it, you're not buying that object. It's not a cost. Instead, you're buying influence rather than things. So rather than buying him a free lunch, for example, you're buying the possibility of influencing him or getting a favor from him or her, perhaps in the future, right? You're not buying objects, but you're winning people's heart. Again, you're buying influence rather than things. Lastly is the worth of money is not in its possession, but in its use. So again, money is just, easier method for us to exchange value. Again, it's not in the value of a certain item, but rather in its use, or how will you use the money, right? So again, you're buying influence rather than things. The last few is avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. So I think this is a very useful law as well, mainly because haven't we been all in that position wherein if you're in corporate, for example, you get into a new role, that when the new role that you entered, your predecessor was super successful, was super has generated massive success in that role. So again, avoid stepping into their shadow, meaning you need to carve your own path. It's very difficult to put yourself in a situation that you'll always be compared to your predecessor, and you need to create your own identity. If you're in the family business, right, and the second generation absorbing taking over the reins from your dad or the predecessor, right, it's very important to not improve what has already been done, but take it a step further and carve your own path. By doing so, it sets you up for success, and it avoids you being compared solely on the past person or your predecessor and his or her success. Last is strike the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter. So I think this is an analogy wherein attacking the shepherds will dishearten the sheep. So whenever you have a problem, for example, or you have an enemy, so similar to the analogy of attacking the king of the kingdoms, right? Rather than battle each army, for example, look for who is the most influential figure, who is the main the main person who a lot of people follow, right? And if you target that person, you topple him over, defeat him, the more chances that you dishearten his or her followers, and the higher chances of you claiming victory. So again, maybe it's similar to the principle of the Pareto principle, wherein you focus on the few that have a huge impact, or for this case, you focus on a specific person that you'd want um, to attack, for example, and defeat. And once you defeat him, the rest or his followers would be disheartened, and you'd be easier to claim victory. The last one is assume formlessness. So very important. I think the only thing constant in this world is change, right? So because of this, you should be able to assume formlessness, meaning keep yourself adaptable, everything changes. So don't be fixated with your identity, for example. Be always willing to adapt to current times. For example, if you're um, trained as an accountant by profession, and then because of this digital transformation, your role is at risk. So you need to adapt to current times. How can you upskill yourself and remove yourself from that identity of only being an accountant, but how can you adapt to current times, right? So again, nothing is fixed, nothing is certain. The only thing certain is change. You need to be like a chameleon, meaning you conform on the surface and attack from the inside. So mainly, be able to be like a chameleon, change your color, change your skills, your attitude, and uh, you know, try to adapt to your current environments. And summarizing, is the key takeaways from the book is one, never outshine the master, conceal your intentions. So much depends on your reputation. You should guard it with your life. Get people to do the work for you, but always get the credit. Infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky, and learn to keep people dependent on you. Seventh, know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Eighth, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Nine, despise free lunch. 10, avoid stepping on great man's shoes, into great man's shoes rather. 11, strike the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter, and assume formlessness. So these are the key 12 out of the 48 laws of power, my key takeaways. And if you want to know more about each one, feel free to rewind the video. And with that, thank you again for listening in. This is book number 3 out of the 52 book challenge. So if you like the content, please like and subscribe the YouTube channel, Paulo Balinas, or follow me on LinkedIn. And if you do have any book requests that you want me to read for next week or the following week, please send them in, comment perhaps, or send me a message. I'd be more than happy to research on that book and perhaps include it in the 52 book week challenge. So with that, like and subscribe, and thank you. See you again next week. Bye.